Hi guys, my name is Christine, and today I'm going to talk about how to stop overthinking. Now, this is something that can get you in a bit of a loop, and what I mean by that is that once you notice that you're overthinking something, and your mind just can't shut off, that's when you kind of start to slow things down. You start to look up, oh my god, I'm overthinking, or you try to look up a meditation or something like that can stop you overthinking. But that just, gets you in more of a loop like, oh no, I'm overthinking. I need to stop overthinking. And then you start overthinking about that and stuff like that. So sometimes you need to make sure you don't get yourself trapped in that kind of loop. And basically, I'm just going to go into what I do when I tend to start overthinking. Because this is quite a bit of revealing information because I don't think I've spoken about it before. And that is, I sometimes suffer from panic attacks. And basically, a panic attack is when I just get this impending sense of doom, and my heart just goes to like a massively high level, my heart rate, and I have to calm myself down basically. And it almost happens without any warning. I haven't really been thinking about anything, it just happens. So what do I do though in those circumstances? So there's a couple of occasions where it's just happened randomly, like where I'm cooking dinner. It could be even when I'm eating dinner. Sometimes it's happened when I'm in the car. Sometimes it's happened when I'm working. And basically, what I do is that I realize what's happening and I just work through it. I just keep on going. Like, I don't try to quiet my thoughts down or anything like that. The best thing to do is to actually focus on something else. So when I've noticed that my heart rate has gone up, because I wear a Fitbit quite frequently. This is not an ad, by the way, for Fitbits. It's just I just happen to use Fitbit. And I'm sure there's plenty of other ways that you can track your beats per minute on your heart. But when I notice that my heart rate has gone to an unusual level, which it does when I'm having a panic attack, I just focus on my breathing. I don't try to calm down my thoughts. I don't try to do anything else. All I aim to do is just calm down my breathing and get my heart rate back down. Now, of course, you might not have panic attacks or anything like that. Perhaps what's bringing that on for you is some kind of anxiety, or it might be just you just feel like you're just an overthinker. So you might not have to do anything like that. But I think focusing on your breath is a really good method. And if it helps someone who has panic attacks, then I'm sure it will help someone who just occasionally overthinks as well. Just so you know as well, like I don't have panic attacks every day or anything like that. I think I've had 2 within the last 5 months. It's not something that I have all the time. But when these things do happen, that's the main thing that I go for. I just aim to just try and calm my body down, because for whatever reason it's starting to go up really, my heart rate is starting to go up really high. So my heart rate is usually around the 70 beats per minute mark, somewhere between 70 and 80. And when I'm having a panic attack, it ends up going up to over 100, somewhere between 110 to 120 beats per minute. So my main aim is just to calm that down, try and reduce that, keep checking my Fitbit, see what my heart rate is, and then just focusing on my breath. Just, things like that. And when you're focusing basically on something else, something that's physical as well, because when you're breathing in and out voluntarily, and you're not just automatically in there and it happens, because obviously our body, breathing is something our body automatically does. But when you're doing voluntary breathing, and you have to be quite conscious of it. So when you're being very conscious of something with your body, like breathing in and out, it takes the focus out of your brain and into your body. And that's personally something that has really helped me. And I have another few things that helps me as well, but that's the main one. And I think if you have a tendency to overthink, sometimes if you feel like you're getting in that place where you're overthinking something, just focusing on your breath is really, really powerful. So another thing that you can try out is to actually meditate. Now, you don't have to meditate, using like a guided meditation on YouTube, or you have to go to some like yogi in a mountain, to try and learn how to meditate. Sometimes just simply listening to like an air conditioner, just focusing on something that is outside of yourself, like the sound of an air conditioner. Or it could be the sound of nature, it could be the sound of traffic going by. And just focus on the sounds around you for just a moment and try to focus on something specifically. So for you, if you live in the countryside like myself, hearing the birds outside, might be something that you do. You just focus on that sound of the birds. If you live in a city, it could be the sound of the traffic. If it happens when you're at work and your work has air conditioners, then it might be listening to the air conditioner, or it could be even like listening to like the whirring sound of a computer. Just focus in on one specific sound and just focus on that for just a few minutes. And once that's happened, then hopefully you will start to calm down your thoughts, because again, it's taking you out of your head and it's getting you focused on something different. So that's a way that you can slow down your thoughts and calm yourself down a bit when these kinds of things happen. Now, if it's something that is bothering you and you keep on thinking about a certain situation that's happened in your past, or it could be a situation that's going to happen to you in the future, and you're really, worried about something that's going to happen, or you may be overthinking something that's happened in the past. It could be a current situation that you're uncomfortable with, and you just keep on replaying it over and over in your head. Then what you need to do with things like that is that you need to write those things down, because obviously it's bothering you and you need to get it out on paper. Now, a lot of people, when they write things down that's going on, they write in a way that someone else is going to read it. Like, they write with the intention that someone else is going to read it. And that's what a lot of people do with diaries. They think, oh, one day someone's going to find this, so I better write it in, not, I wouldn't say like in a way that's untruthful, but they may manipulate some of the things that they say so it comes off a little bit better, or it comes off a little bit more dramatic, or whatever it may be. But when you write something down, you have to write down, especially if it's something that's bothering you, you need to be truthful about what it is. Now, if you're worried about someone finding it and someone reading it, then you can just destroy it. You could delete it if you write it down on your computer or a memo on your phone. If it's on a piece of paper, you could flush it down the toilet, you could burn it, or you could just put it in the bin. So don't be too concerned about someone actually reading it, because like I said, you can get rid of it if you want to. But you have to write down a true account, very concise, of what is actually going on. It's kind of like writing it down as if it's some kind of report. You're saying exactly what has happened or what you're worried about, and be very truthful about it. Because, for example, perhaps what is happening to you or what you're worried about is quite embarrassing and you don't want anyone to know about it. Or perhaps you've done something that you feel guilty about and you feel like you need to write it down. That's completely understandable. So I understand why some people do write in a way that is intended for someone else to read it, and they kind of leave things out that they don't really want to discuss. But like I said, you can get rid of it. So write down a truthful account of what is bothering you. And it may be the case you may need to write it down a few times, because this is something that I did. There's a few memories that I've had in my past that have been quite awful, right? I'm sure many people have had really awful experiences. And, I noticed that when I write down things that bother me, then I tend to forget about them less. Like, I don't remember them as much. I write them down and I tend to forget about it, and I don't need to address it anymore. And when I say forget, I don't mean like I get amnesia about it. Obviously, those memories are still there, but those memories just don't bother me anymore. But when it's something really big, a really big event that's really bothered me, I need to write that thing down a few times for my mind to get it out, for me to get clear about it. I don't know why it works, it just does. When you write down things that have happened to you and you do it in a truthful way, and if it's a big bad memory and it's something that you think about a lot, you may need to write it down a few times, but for whatever reason, it helps you sort it out. It helps you sort it out in your own head, and it makes you feel a lot more easier about it. There's a few, a good few things that's happened in my life that I've had to write down a few times. And each time I write it down, I feel a lot better about it, and I don't tend to think about it as much. I don't know how it works. I just know that it does work. Write down these bad memories that you have, or whatever it is that's bothering you. It doesn't have to be memories. And if it's something that you keep on thinking about it, you may need to write it down a few times in order to get it out of your system, and you will feel better about it. Now, these are just methods that have worked for me to help me with my overthinking. It helps me with my panic attacks as well when I do have one. It makes me feel a lot better. It calms me down. And it doesn't affect me as much, whatever it may be, if it's a specific problem. So these are things that have just worked for me. Of course, if you are going through something similar to what I've said, like panic attacks or anything like that, and you have a tendency to overthink things way too much, then you may obviously need to go and speak to a therapist, go speak to your doctor, because obviously I'm a YouTuber, I'm not a professional in mental health things. These are just things that have personally worked for me, and if you feel like you're going through any huge issues right now, then you probably need to go and speak to someone who, in fact, I actually encourage that you go and speak to someone who's a professional, who's a psychologist or something like that, or a doctor, because they're going to be able to give you the best methods to help you and probably create a package for you with your specific needs. So I hope this video has been helpful, mostly. That's all I want. I just want to be helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.